Hello everyone, it's me again, Jojo, and this is Katsu the Batsu. For you guys who doesn't know me, I'm Jojo the Mustang. I retired as a warrant officer in the United States Navy. I served 30 years honorably. So today somebody asked me about how do I prepare or how should a sailor be prepared for deployment? Very big question, huh? So now we're kind of getting in depth. We did talk before about mentorship, education, stuff like that. But let me just jump into deployment because this is something big. It's going to change your life actually. So I could tell you something in relates to my experience as well too because I wasn't actually ready the first time I went in deployment. And we're talking about 30 years ago, right? After I joined in, I was in a short cruise, but it's different going to a big deployment. I was in a CG-48 USS Yorktown, a small ship, but it was only like about 2 months deployment going down South America. So it wasn't really a deployment. So I was kind of like already there, but the preparation was different. But talking about deployment, 6 months to 8 months deployment, sometimes 9 months. Deployment on board a carrier is actually different. The dynamics is different. I was more concerned of what am I supposed to do when I get to the carrier because it was gonna be my first time. I've never been on a short cruise or a short workups because when I checked into a command, about a month later we went in deployment. So you'll be lucky if you go to a short cruise first or a short workups. We call it workups or Com2X or and Testa. If because in that way you will be able to prepare yourself. You know where your compartment is at. You know where your bed is going to be at, or your rack, or your bunk. So it's easy. It's better to have a short deployment first before going to a big deployment. So anyway. Talking about big deployment here, a big one. My first one was actually in USS Kitty Hawk in 2004. No, 1994. And I was stationed in one of the squadron, and we went to a 6 month deployment. But then at that time, everybody's so busy, right? And I'm talking about way back here, about 28 years ago, 28 to 29 years ago. The way the Navy does things compared to now they're more very engaged when it comes to preparation for the Navy guys, for the family members, for the sailors and everybody else. Back then it's kind of like, yeah, they teach you, but not to the extent. So life is getting better now. Quality of life is getting better. And we will talk more about that too when we go to the ship, right? How the life was in the ship and compared to the life being in a ship nowadays. It's night and day, to be honest with you. But anyway, when I went to the ship, I did not get the good information that I should be having my extra civilian clothes with me, or CVs. What I just went to the ship because everybody was coming in dress whites, right? Because we flew from our base to the North Island for the deployment. So we were in our dress whites, and that's the only one I have. Nobody ever told me that make sure you have extra stuff with you, because some of our gears won't be coming in until later that night. So I wasn't really prepared, right? And the funny thing was when I get all my stuff, I was changing and everything. I don't have the toiletries that I need. I don't have everything. So, however, the bad thing was we arrived late at night. I tried to go to the commissary. I tried to go to the Navy Exchange, and though I was able to get some of my stuff that I needed, but I didn't know that we're supposed to, get everything ready for you because the ship store before was not really that complete yet. So whatever they have is what you're gonna get as well too. So preparation is really important. So I think you need to have a big list right now. As we go on deployment, the new deployments right now, the MWR is very engaged. The command master chief right now is very engaged. The mentorship is very engaged. Your LPOs are very engaged right now. Sometimes they have a list of what you need to bring with you. You have to have a checklist, right? And that way it's going to help you out what you need. Remember this, okay? When you go on deployment, sometimes you won't see land for the next 45 to 30 to 60 days. And if you don't have anything else with you, you'll be relying to whatever the ship's store have, or whatever your friends maybe have, because maybe sometimes you have to ask your friend if they have the stuff that you need, for your personal need, especially the toiletries kind of thing. And one thing also you have to understand, like how many civilian clothes you have to bring with you, and what type of civilian clothes you have to bring with you. I could remember back then where when we go to a certain deployment, you have to have a shirt with a color shirt. You have to have it, and they won't let you get off if you're not properly or neatly or respectfully dressed, especially when you go to say Bahrain or or Dubai, because those places are so conservative, right? So it's very important to have a nice dress with you, or dress up properly, because it's better to dress up than dress down. It's easy to dress down if you're dressed up, and that way you can easily blend in too, and you look good and be respectful in front of the foreign countries, right? It's just like you raise the bar because you are actually the ambassador. So having a good list of what kind of clothes you have to bring with you. Sometimes you need to have those the running shoes. If you like going to the gym, make sure you have all those gears with you, those sports gear that you have. And that way you can use when you go work out. If you like running for the treadmills, you have to have those. But if you go to a deployment and in none of those you have it, you'll be like stuck in your berthing or in your shop and just staring at the wall and thinking, man, where's the rest of my stuff? Instead, because it's life is hard when you're in the ship. Remember, you'll be working 12 on, 12 off, and sometimes you'll be working 14 hours a day. And if you don't have the necessary stuff or the personal gears that you have with you, and sometimes you have to bring your laptop and you forget your laptop, you have to forget your phone, your reading materials, study materials, and for example, you like playing music, if you forgot to bring your instruments like guitar, flute, or anything of that nature to make you busy, help you busy, and in that way your deployment you feel like it's going to be shortened because you're having a great time. But if you're not ready for deployment, it's going to be very, very painful. Now, my first topic is kind of like talking about being a single sailor there, right? But if you're married and have children, especially have children, it's a different story, because you have to make sure that everything is ready, everything's prepared. You don't have to think about anything else when you leave. Remember, you're leaving your spouse behind or your husband behind, and if there's a kid involved, make sure that everything should be good to go. Nothing expired. The bills will be paid. The wife or the husband has all the necessary, let's say, legal matters or legal documents that they might be needed for them to execute while you're gone. So those things are preparation, right? And we're just talking here like the icing, right? There's so many things behind it as well too. But the point here is that going on deployment is like preparation, right? It's a very, very important preparation. Just like when you're painting your house, you need to prep it properly. In that way, when you lay down the paint, everything's good to go. So same thing with your deployment. You have to prepare everything. You have to have all the necessary things that you need in order for you to survive for the next 6 to 8, 9 months. In that way, that long months of deployment will not be that hard for you. That will only be resolved because of a better preparation. Okay, better preparation. So understanding what you're going, where you're going, the country where you're going. Make sure you know also the temperature where you're going, because if you go into the Mediterranean cruise, or you're going up north or going down south, and you're not wearing or getting the proper appropriate clothing that you're supposed to be bringing with you, and guess what? Then you're stuck in a ship, right? It's going to be miserable for you. And if you do know you're going out during winter time, especially you're going to go up north, then make sure you have those fall weather jackets with you. If you're going down south, make sure you have those tropical clothing with you. So that's the thing about that too. And supplements, vitamins, bring those. If you like into workouts, if you like into cardio, bring all the things that you need in order for you to survive the long deployment. Okay, so anyway, that's why I have there for deployment, and it's gonna be fun if you have a good preparation. But the good thing is, right nowadays, the deployment preparation is not that bad compared to when I was just going up in the ranks. You can ask a lot of questions. You can actually Google it. You can YouTube it. You can actually, the MWR is very involved nowadays. Your command has so many information nowadays. But don't just go by what they tell you. Ask around too. Ask anybody have a good and bad experience. Sometimes bad experience can actually help you prepare properly for a long deployment. Okay, so it's all about preparation there. All right. So that's all I got about preparation for deployment. And if you have any other questions, let me know. Don't forget to subscribe again. Click on that button right there and say subscribe, and we'll talk again next time. See ya.